Welcome to episode 4 of the garden studio build. Apologies, there will be a few bits and pieces here where I moved on. I didn't really show much of putting down the play on the roof. So I used 18mm OSB. You'll see that on the vlog, but I didn't really talk that much. I had to move on because the weather was against me, time was against me, so I just moved on. As I said, there will be a few bits missing, but hopefully there'll be enough there for you to see how I did it, and I hope you enjoy it. I just want to show you, I've got all the joists laid out here, but this is very important. I think I mentioned this before, but I'll just, in case I didn't. You can see I've handpicked through every single one of these. There's 19 of them. And you can see an arrow with the little bow. That's just basically telling me I need to keep, that's the crown. So timbers, unfortunately, don't always come lovely, nice and straight. So there's always a crown in them. I'll see, can you see it in some of these? I'll lift the side out here and just see, can you run the eye down it? Can you see it? Can you see it? Probably, there is a bit in that one there. So you can just see down about where my finger's pointing. There's a crown there. So I'm turning all those crowns up because obviously if you put the crown down, that timber is more than likely to sag even more with water on the roof and so on, or maybe snow in some places. We don't obviously get that much snow here, but there are countries who will. So it's always really important, keep the crown up. So then if it does sag, it's obviously going to flatten the post to get it even worse. So just wanted to show you that as well. So I'm well away here. Everything's going pretty smooth. No major issues. Got them all on, bar the last couple here. But I just wanted to show you a wee tip. And I'm sure you may already know about this. And if you don't, well, you've learned something new. That's what it's all about. So if you can see here, down in this corner, there is quite a gap between the joist here and the spacer. So you can, my spacer's cut square, so obviously there's a twist in this joist. So what I'm doing is, or what I've done, I've had a few of these today. So I get me clamp, just an ordinary wood clamp. It's a pretty heavy duty, strong Irwin clamp. And if you look in there now, and if I lean on this clamp, you can see I can square that pretty much down and close that gap entirely. See? So that's pretty much it closed, and then I'll nail it at that. But I just wanted to, so I've seen some people putting in a screw and getting their hammer and using it to, you know, you put a screw in there sort of thing, catch your hammer in it and you bend down. It works too, but I just seen this on somewhere. I can't remember where I seen it, to be honest, but it worked well and it's working well for me. So just want to share that wee one with you while I'm in the middle of this. Okay, so got on really well. Got all my joists spread on the roof, all nailed down. I've got my fascia boards on. So I know a lot of people use, you know, this 5x2s for fascia, but I just think it's a bit ignorant. So I just used inch 5x1, and I think it's plenty. And as you can see, I have to say myself, straight as a die. So everything, again, just plumbing your walls, making sure they're plumb, so that when you come across then, front and back, you've got a nice even, just come around the back here, you've got a nice even run right through. So you can see it there. Pretty good. And that's all the back done there. So very good. So what I did on my last joist, you can see it there, this one that runs up the inside, I put on all those little outriggers, or whatever you want to call them, ladders, and they're 200mm, so there's not that much soffit on the sides. You don't really need it, nor on the back. I think it's only going to work out. I can rip a couple of sheets of PVC, it'll be fine. And then 5-inch fascia on the sides and the front. Then as we go inside, you'll see then all done. Now, I put on all my upside down joist hangers like I was telling you, and they'll all be nailed on in due course. But at the minute, they're all side nailed into that wall plate up at the very top. So I've got a 4x2 running right along from left to right, right along, which ties everything together as well, because this front, you could really see it's in 3 sections. You've got your left wall, you've got your door head, and the right side then here. So that 4x2, I stretched it along so it comes in about here, right over to about here, and then I just put on 2 bits at the ends. So that's it, and then filled up my filler there, because you know, depends what way you make your walls. I kept my studs just square, and then I just ripped a piece of 5x2 and I put in what I'm calling it a filler up along there, so that just fills that gap. And then it also give something for the get over here, you can see all the ladder pieces here. So I'm currently putting on the joist hangers upside down, which will help hold down the roof. So as I said, the front gets quite a blast here in the winter time. So I'm putting 2 nails here and then a nail here. And if you notice that the door head, it was 2 5x2s nailed together. So there's a bit of a lip there, you can see. It's about maybe 5 mil. So I'm gonna have to put a filler in here, so I'm not nailing them the whole way down along the door head, but right along I have nailed, and I will nail the rest of these right anywhere where there's an available timber, it'll be nailed. And just another thing for those that might be doing this for the first time, like me, just gonna scramble up here. I didn't bother putting any nails in the top because already those, and I'm gonna have to, when I'm doing my sheets of play, I'm gonna have to give them a bit of a tap down. But I didn't put any nails here because it actually leaves the board sitting very proud. Now I'm sure when you have it nailed out on the edge, or sorry, screwed, whatever you're going to do with it, it would probably counter that, but I just don't want to put any more nails to put any more height in it. But the whole principle of the joist hanger is to wrap around, so that's holding it down. So I've got a couple of nails to keep it in place on the sides there, and then obviously these will be nailed the whole way down here and the whole way down here, and then that's going to give you a very good fixing. And what I'm using is these little nails here. They're 30 mil, and you can see there's a bit of a twist in them, so that helps them, you know, grip into the timber, so it just gives them that extra bit of strength. So that's straightforward enough, to be honest. If you can just see here, I don't know, some joist hangers are different. If you can see just here, it actually sits out. So if you see one that I haven't put in, like so, you have to actually, you know, give it a good tap into the side of the timber so it digs in, or it'll be sitting out proud, like from the timber there. So that lets you in nice and flush here, you know. So you just give them a bit of a tap in. They can take a fair whack before they bend. So that's it. I'm just going to continue on right to the end, and I've put in all my screws on the back joists. I'll just get down here very quickly without killing myself. So you can see now each of them are all screwed. So this front screw here is a 6x100, and the one at the back is a 5x80. So done them the whole way. I didn't want to put in 2 big screws. They are side nailed as well. All those joists, you know, up on they're side nailed into with the 90 mil nails. So like they ain't going nowhere. I was going to put hanging joists on the back as well, but there's just no need. That's going to be a very good fix there. They ain't going nowhere, and every single one of them joists is screwed, so they're all the exact same the whole way through, all screwed underneath and nailed on top, so they ain't going nowhere. So I've skipped on quite a bit because I had the weather on my side and I just wanted to get cracking on the roof. So I have the roof all down, and you can see there's lines like where it's faded. That's where I've sanded the screw holes. So it's really important to get the screw holes sanded so there's no splinters in them to tear the butyl rubber roof. So I have the rubber all rolled out here now, and you can see it roll right across. There was a mistake with the order, and it was to my advantage because I was only charged for 7 meters by 4 meters, and I got 11 meters by 4 meters. So I'm going to have 4 by 4 left over. But what I've done now is I've swept down the roof. I don't want to just walk off the roof here, so I have to be careful. Yeah, so I've swept off all the roof, and it's all ready for getting this rolled out. So I'm just waiting on my daughter to come down now, because I'm going to have to roll this down a plank to the end to get it cut. So I've just cut it, 5 or 6 inches longer than it needs to be. So currently putting the bitumen rubber roof on. I've got half of it on. It is a curse of a job on your own, but I'm getting there. There's just a couple of bubbles here that I wasn't able to get out, but everything else is pretty good. So I've got half of it on there now, and as you can see here, the stuff I'm using, I'll show you the tin in a second, but it's a white paste. You can sort of see blotches of it here, but it dries or goes to a sticky, what would you say, sticky compound. It's clear, you can't see it, but it is on there now, and it's really, really, really sticky. So I'm going to have to jump across here without getting my socks, as you can see in my sock feet. So that is if you can see it, that's the stuff there that I'm using for sticking it down, and I'm putting it on just with a roller. I haven't been doing any filming it because, to be honest, it is pretty intricate. And when I say intricate, it's not that it's like a fine joinery, but it's just bloody hard to get it down without bubbles. So I folded it all back here now to this point here. So I folded it, took it back from the corner here, folded it right back in laps, and hopefully now every 2 laps will cover what I've rolled on. So you're not going to see an awful pile of the roof, but it is straightforward, to be honest. It's like it's bitumen rubber. The whole thing is getting it down on the roof for a day in the warm weather, and let it settle. And once it's settled there, you can actually see now the difference that's where it's on, that's where it's not on. It settles nice and flat. You roll it back, like I've just done there. You do this half. Once you've done this half, you go back to the other side and roll that back to your last glue point, and that's pretty much it. You do the other half then, so you do it from the middle out to the ends. I'm going to keep going here now because this is starting to dry very quickly here, so I want to get this down, and I'll take you back when I have it down. All right. So hopefully you can hear me with the wind, but that's the rubber on now, the roof, and I have it fixed on the sides with buttons. You can see there, just to keep it from flapping. Is it 100% perfect? No, it's not. You can see there's a couple of bubbles in it there, but as a percentage, I'd say it's 98% stuck down to the ground or to the roof, so it isn't going anywhere. And then obviously once I get the fascia and soffit on, you'll have your trims on the whole front from corner to corner, and then on the sides, and then in the back you'll have your gutter trim, which is slightly different because obviously the water has to go over and down into the gutters, so it's going to be slightly different. You can see that bubble pretty bad there and a bit there, but apart from that, it isn't too bad. And again, it's acceptable to me, so I think that's all that I have to worry about. I don't think it's going to go anywhere in all fairness. So that's it. Roof on, or well, I would say 90% on. As I said, just the fascia soffit and the trims to go on. That's what we'll do next. Okay. So I'm about to start to put on the fascia soffit on the perimeter of the building. So I'm going to put that on first, and then the sheeting that I'm putting on the external walls will butt up against the fascia, or sorry, the soffit, and I'll just seal it then along the top, so no water can get in. And that's the reason as well, you know, the breathable membrane is also a waterproof membrane, so if water were to get in at the back, it's going to run down the inside between the actual finished sheeting on the wall and the back, and it'll run out of the bottom, because I'm not going to seal it at the bottom. I'm going to put air vents at the bottom, but I'm not going to seal it tight. It'll just be vermin proof and insect proof, I suppose, to a point. I'll talk about that later on. But at the minute, I'm just using standard soffit. So it's your standard soffit that you would use on any build. It's like a perforated cardboard, PVC. This is going on the bottom, and then I've got some black fascia right round, and I'll leave the external sheeting as a bit of a surprise towards the end. It's actually, I think it'll look well. We've picked it, we've ordered it, and it's going to take about a week to come, but it's on its way. So without ranting and talking, I'm going to put this up. It's fairly straightforward. So this will go up underneath, and I will tack it to the joists on the inside with what I call poly tops. So they're just a little nail with a black PVC top on them. Okay, so I'll probably nail it every other one, because as I said, the sheeting's going to go up against that, so it's never going to go anywhere. And I'll tack it on the outside with just standard nails, and then the fascia, the lip of the fascia, and again I'll just show you that quickly. So you can see there, I hope I've got my camera set up properly. You can see the shape of the fascia there. It's like a 90-degree. So the soffit comes in here at this angle. Then I've got nails underneath this that'll come up through and into the wooden fascia, and that's what will cover it. And then on the roof, I've got some 90-degree aluminium, like so. So it's 90-degree. So this bit sits on top of the roof here. This comes down over your fascia at the front, and then there's just like hex screws that I'm going to put along the top with a black plastic cap, so it kind of blends in. I would have preferred this PVC trim that goes around the roof, but unfortunately I'm sure you can get it somewhere in Northern Ireland, but where I live there's no suppliers. So the people that I got the butyl rubber off supply this as well. In my estimation, it's not ideal. It's probably not what I wanted, but it'd look okay. Listen, I never seen anybody walking around looking up at the sky to see what your fascia and edging looks like. Hopefully the exterior of the build will be easier on the eye than this probably will be. But listen, it's a studio after all. But I want to do it right and do it neat. This will be okay. This will be okay. So I've nailed up the first sheet on the building, and this is now the finishing piece. So it's 71.25 long. So I'm obviously going to have to joint that now to the other sheet, because the building's too long. Each come in 5 metre lengths, and the building's whatever 6.5 meters long at this point. So this is what you call J trim, and obviously the reasons for because it's in the shape of a J. But we use this for joining the two pieces together. So soffit this sheet here from point to point, you just double it, and I'll show you the reasons why you double it. So you literally cut it with just a junior hacksaw, easy cut. Okay, so that's our piece there. So then just put it across full width of the board. You slide it into the soffit like so. Okay, and you mark it here. So you want this to be able to go into both sides. So this is your joint basically. So what you do then is you cut it all the way down, but you don't cut it through obviously. So you cut it down to that point there. So I'm going to get my pencil mark here. Now you don't have to be 100% here, but you obviously need to be near enough. So cut it down there now. I haven't cut it through. You fold it over, you slide it on then to this, and then the other side here is where your return piece that's on the building as we speak goes into. So I'll show you when it's when. So you can see now I've got the soffit all nailed up. So right along the edge, you can see it's just the full width. I'll get up maybe and get a bit closer here. Go up the ladder. So you can see it all up, and it goes right in to the lats on the inside. So you can imagine at this point here, the sheet that comes up from here butts up against that, and then the J-trim at the top of it will meet this exactly here, and then you can just put a bead of silicone and seal it all in. You can see then the joint here. So that's the joint. Some people use H-trim, which the H-trim tends to sit down and leave a bow in your fascia when you put your fascia on here. That J-trim is the same width as your soffit, so it's not going to sit down like some of them do. So I'm happy enough with that. So small tip, these are 5 meters long. So a wee tip for putting these up on your own if you have to, like I have. Measure in 6 feet, whatever, pick a number that's acceptable for stretching. So measure it 6 feet from the end, put a mark on your fascia, or in my case the butyl rubber there. I've measured in 6 feet here, to a pencil mark here. So obviously when I match these up, it's at the right length at the end, and it's not going to snap and break on you. Now it shouldn't break on you, it's fairly robust, but it should be okay. So I've got my 6 feet mark here. So this could be a bit tricky with the rubber. Okay. That's it. Make sure my 6 feet mark is right there. So what I'm going to do now first is put a nail in the bottom. Hose it up for me. And I put a nail here. Don't hammer these in too far, just enough to divide. And continue on then nailing, so I'll go down to the end, make sure that it's right down here. Nice and tight. This. Bring in this one in the middle. Don't put your nail at the end too close to the edge, because you've got an outside corner to go on. You don't want it to get in the way. So that's all those on. It's looking pretty straight. Squeeze over. Next one in. It's always important, keep it pushed in. So push it in. Make sure that it's nice and tight. It's going up into your fascia. So I hope you can see now, I've got all of these on, and I've got them screwed in every roughly 28 inches. But what I'm doing in between each one, I'm putting one of those poly tops that I put on the fascia with in between. I didn't think they'd be able to pierce the aluminium, but they are. Gives it an extra wee bit of hold, I suppose. Then we get our knife and continue to Now you don't have to lean really hard on this. It's just nice, gentle, steady. Run along the. I'm using the aluminium here just to guide the knife. So I'm around the back of the shed here now. I've got all the trim on the front and the sides, but the back is slightly different because this is where the gutter's going to go. So what I've done is put on my fascia and soffit, so you can see that that's all on. Okay, and sorry about the close work, because you can see I have absolutely no room to do any filming around here, so it's just very basic, I suppose. So this is your butyl rubber here, so you can imagine this is the end of the roof here, so the water comes off the roof and down the butyl rubber. So what I've done is I've put it screwed on a lat the whole length of the studio, and your gutter, if you can imagine, will sit underneath this. So I don't know if I can get an angle. So it'll sit under this. This will be on with an aluminium strip on the face of the lath. Okay, so it'll be screwed through the butyl rubber into the lath, and then the water will run off the lath down into the gutter. So I hope you can see now. So that's your water comes down and over the top, and even if it goes down the back, if you can see the timber's up in here, so there's a good 10 mil of an overhang on this side. It's actually more down there, so I've trimmed it off just flush with the bottom of the trim. So that's the back finish. Well, there's the side finished. This is the side next to the workshop. Then along the back, all done, and you can see the lip the whole way along that the gutter's going to run under. That's just like an aluminium trim then, the whole way that I showed you. Apologies, it was in portrait, which isn't ideal for YouTube, but it's just that one clip. I forgot to turn the camera and it was tight for space. But here we have this side finished as well, and the window in. So that's that. And there's your overhang on the front. And here we have the front now all finished. And I have to say myself, I'm very happy with how it looks. I'm just not sure, are we going to put these fancy things? I made space the window out so that I would put these things here, so probably still will. But as it stands, that's the unit, all finished, roof finished. Sorry, the unit's not finished, the roof is finished. Windows are in. I'll just take you inside very quickly. If I zoom out, do it now. This is us inside. Apologies for all the rubbish, but guys that came in put the windows in, they just left everything behind them, which is fair enough. So that's it. So left to right, there we are. So that's it. Roof completely finished, as I said, all dried in. Really happy with how everything went. It was a bit of a challenge, you know, trying to put on them 5 metre lengths of fascia on your own. If you can get help, I worked with my own, I'm pretty used to it now. But yeah, that's it. I'm not going to labour. Please make sure you subscribe to the channel, leave a like and leave a comment. I'm happy to take any advice on next steps. If there's something that you think I should do before I get to putting in the wiring and all that, please do let me know. But the important thing is subscribe to the channel. I'm going to have loads of content. We're going to do the finish on the outside next. That'll be possibly in the next clip, and if that's not, it'll be first fix electrics. I'm going to do it myself. I'm not going to really show that much of it because I know what I'm doing, but I'm not an electrician. I'm not a trained qualified electrician, but I would advise anybody that's not sure, please do get a qualified electrician to do any electrics. I'm confident enough in what I'm doing. I will be getting a qualified electrician to do all my connections. It's just, I'm trying to save a few pounds, to be honest with you, doing it myself. But I will have an electrician, Chris, that I use all the time for any work around the workshop or in the house. So Chris will be doing the final connections, making sure everything's safe and to standard and spec. So that's definitely that. But I'll show you maybe doing me some of it, but I'm not going to tell you what I'm doing because it just can get a bit messy, and I don't want somebody to copy what I'm doing and then maybe electrocute themselves or something, so wouldn't want that. Yeah, so that's it. Until the next time, we'll see you. Bye bye.